Close. John Calipari talks Kentucky's loss to Kansas in the Champions Classic. Fletcher PageCJCHICAGO. During Kentucky basketball's first preseason practice, Coach John Calipari gave the youngest and least experienced team of his career the green light to tell him when to stop. On that day in late September, Calipari told his players, the 8 freshmen and 3 sophomores, to tell him to be calm. He told them to remind him how many first-year players were on the roster. He said he needed them to demand that he remain patient throughout the process. I've got to keep being positive with these guys, and I've got to keep picking them up, Calipari said after Kentucky's 6,561 loss to No. 3 Kansas on Tuesday night. For this Kentucky team to become the best version of itself, Calipari has to channel 2 different versions of himself. There's angry Cal and there's optimistic Cal. Both are necessary, but both have a time and place. At the buzzer, Kansas Jayhawks edge past Kentucky Wildcats at Champions Classes in practice. Calipari says he is probably harder on this group than any time I've coached in 9 years at Kentucky. And I'm not talking about mean, he said. I'm talking about how we're practicing, what I'm accepting, what I'm not accepting. That's to set the standard, to impart accountability and to demand responsibility. He's just really intense in practice, Kentucky freshman guard Hamidou Diallo said last week. In 3 games, Calipari has been at times as animated as ever, but he follows demonstrative arm flailing with pick-em-up compliments to move forward in a positive way. He's been our biggest cheerleader, Diallo said. Commit 4-star recruit Tyler Harrow commits to Kentucky. The line between Calipari's personalities was blurred at the Champions Classic during the Kansas loss. For onlookers seated near the Kentucky bench, Cal was seen waving his arms wildly many times during the first half when Kansas had 15 offensive rebounds. His face often contorted and winced after each of the Wildcats' 11 second-half turnovers. Most times, Calipari quickly collected himself. UK's Shai Gilgeous-Alexander drives to the basket against Devontae Graham of Kansas during the 2017 Champions Classic at the United Center in Chicago, Illinois on Tuesday, November 14, 2017. Photo Michael Reeves special to Courier-Journal. I'm trying to be lighter in the games, trying to clap, he said. I've got to keep teaching and coaching and encouraging and prodding, freshman guard Shai Gilgeous-Alexander said. The opposing shades of Calipari's demeanor were surprising. I thought he was going to be crazy all the time, but he's more chill in games, he said. I think because at the end of the day, we're all our own man, and we have to figure things out for ourselves. That's how we're going to be the best team we can be. That's what he does. Sure, some aspects of the Kansas loss tested Calipari's patience. Players attempting one-handed rebounds turns him into angry Cal every time. One-handed rebound and catches drives me crazy, he said. I mean, I lose my mind. John Calipari. We've got a high school team plus 6 months, but the 2+ hours of action in the United Center taught Calipari plenty about his players. They fought back from an early double-digit deficit. They didn't lose by 30, something Calipari suggested could happen if they did not defend the Jayhawks' talented guards properly. After getting demolished on the boards in the first 20 minutes, they out-rebounded Kansas in the second half. Those things nearly pushed Kentucky to victory. It appears, at least according to Calipari's reality check comments in previewing the matchup, it will be a hard game for us to win, he said. The young Wildcats are ahead of schedule still with a ways to go. Every game we play we just have to figure out, how do we get better? Calipari said. And then we gotta figure out how to play late in games. What do we do? What does our offense look like late in the game? Calipari on this year's squad. How much work do I have to do with this season's Cats? As for Calipari's in-game disposition, this isn't the way he behaved during games last season, when Kentucky had a balance of 3 seniors and 3 freshman NBA lottery picks. Diallo, who sat on the bench from January to March as an early enrollee, indicated Calipari was more angry than optimistic during games by using sarcasm in a recent interview. I wasn't that observant on how he was coaching then, Diallo said laughing. And as for Calipari's mandate, the one where his players are supposed to let him know during practice when he's too much angry and not enough optimistic, nobody, according to freshman Nick Richards, Diallo and Gilgeous-Alexander, has stepped forward. Not willingly, at least. No, Calipari makes us say it, Diallo said. He'll be like, tell me what you want. Tell me, and then he makes you say it. Stay calm. Remain patient. And, eventually, Richards said, we're going to become the good team we're supposed to be later in the season.